Hey, welcome to Developer Roadmaps. All right, today we're setting up our very first checkpoint on a path that, let's be real, is super important in tech right now, the Python programming language. So whether you're brand new to this or just want to make sure your foundations are solid, you're in the right place. This is going to be your ground zero overview. To really get the vibe of Python, this one quote just nails it. It's basically executable pseudocode. And that right there is the magic. It's the core reason so many developers fall in love with it. What does that actually mean? It means your code ends up looking a lot like plain English instructions that a computer can actually run. It's what makes Python one of the most friendly and approachable languages out there. So here's the game plan for today. First, we'll look at the big picture. Then, we'll dig into the core building blocks. After that, it's all about making things happen. Then we'll explore the wider Python ecosystem, and we'll wrap up by setting up your next checkpoint. Let's get into it. Okay, first up on our map, the big picture. Look, before we even think about writing a line of code, it's so important to understand the why behind Python. What's the philosophy that makes this language tick? What makes it so unique and, frankly, so powerful? All right, so let's break down the official definition. When we say high level, it just means you don't have to sweat the small stuff, the nitty-gritty details of how the computer is actually working. General purpose? Think of it like a Swiss Army knife. You can use it for pretty much anything. Web development, data science, AI, you name it. But that last part, significant indentation. Now that is key. It's a huge defining feature of Python, and we're going to see exactly what that means in a bit. It's not just for looks, it's baked right into the syntax. And that idea of clean code leads us right to the soul of the language. There's this set of guiding principles called the Zen of Python. And if you remember one thing from it, make it this: readability counts. This isn't just some fluffy, nice-to-have idea. No, this is the central philosophy. It's the rule that shapes how every single line of Python code is supposed to be written. So let's quickly place Python on our historical roadmap. The whole thing started back in the late 80s, conceived by Guido von Rossum. The first public version dropped in 91, but the versions that really shaped the Python we know and use today, that was Python 2.0 in the year 2000, and then the big one, Python 3.0 in 2008. That was a major overhaul, and it's the version that everyone uses now. All right, we've got the philosophy down. Now let's move on to our next checkpoint on the map, the core building blocks. I want you to think of these as the Lego bricks of Python. They're the fundamental data types, the raw materials you're going to use to build, well, everything. Okay, so at the very base layer, we have what are called primitives. You've got your numbers, right? Whole numbers and decimals. You've got strings, which is just a fancy word for text. Then there are booleans, which are super simple, just true or false. And finally, there's a special one called none, which basically means nothing here, or the absence of a value. Simple as that. Now, let's tackle something that trips up a lot of beginners, the difference between a list and a tuple. They look similar, right? They both hold an ordered sequence of things, but here's the crucial difference: mutability. A list is mutable, meaning you can change it, add to it, remove from it. Think of it like a shopping list you can keep editing. A tuple, on the other hand, is immutable. Once you create it, it's set in stone. It's locked. And why does that even matter? Well, because they're unchangeable, tuples are safer in some situations and can be used in places where lists can't, like as a key in a dictionary. So here's a quick rundown of the main ways to group your data. We've talked about lists and tuples for ordered stuff. Then you've got dictionaries. These are awesome. They store key value pairs. So think of a word and its definition, or a person's name and their phone number. Finally, you have sets, which are just collections of unique things. No duplicates allowed. Each one of these is like a different kind of container designed for a specific job. Okay, so we've got all these ways to hold on to our data, right? We can store numbers, text, lists of things, but that's just half the story. It's great to have the data, but the big question is, how do we actually make it do something? And that question brings us right to our next major checkpoint: making things happen. This is where the magic really begins. We're going to talk about how to give our programs instructions, how to control what happens and when, and how to bundle up our logic so we can use it again and again. Think of this stuff as the brain of your program. You use if, elif, and else statements to make choices. You use a for loop to go through every item in a list one by one. And you use a while loop to just keep doing something over and over as long as a certain condition is true. And hey, remember that whole significant indentation thing we talked about? This is where you see it in action. In Python, you don't use curly braces or brackets to group your code. You use indentation. It's not optional, it's how the language works, and it forces you to write code that's easy to read. So what happens when you notice you're writing the exact same chunk of code multiple times? Well, you package it up into a function. You just use the keyword def to define one. It's basically like creating your own personal reusable command. Right here, for example, we've made a super simple function called add. You give it two numbers, and it gives you back the sum. Easy. Okay, but here's the thing. The power of Python goes way beyond just the basic language. So let's zoom out a bit and look at our next checkpoint, the massive Python ecosystem. And I'm not kidding when I say this is where Python's real superpower is hidden. The whole system is built to be expanded using things called modules. And a module? It's really just a file full of Python code. Functions, variables, all that good stuff. The cool part is you can import these modules into your own code and instantly get all of their functionality without having to build it all yourself. It's like adding a new tool to your toolbox. So, where do you find all these amazing pre-built modules? Well, they all live in a place called PyPI, which stands for the Python Package Index. Honestly, the best way to picture it is as a massive public library, but for code. It's this huge repository that's built and shared by the entire global Python community. And when I say massive, I really, really mean it. We're talking over 600,000 unique packages available on PyPI. Just let that number sink in. That incredible, mind-boggling collection is the reason Python is such a chameleon. It's why you can use it for literally anything, from building a website to analyzing astronomical data. So how do you actually check out a book from this giant code library? You use a tool called pip. It's a super simple command you type into your terminal, and it's the standard way to install and manage all those packages from PyPI. Seriously, with just one little command, you can pull in incredibly powerful new tools and add them straight to your project. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. We talked about the philosophy, the Lego bricks, the logic that makes things happen, and the incredible ecosystem. So now we're at our final stop on today's journey, your next checkpoint. Let's map out exactly what you should do next. Here it is, your actionable roadmap. Step 1. Master the basics. Really get comfortable with all those data types and control flow concepts we talked about. Step 2. Explore the standard library. These are the powerful modules that come built right into Python. And step 3, and this is by far the most important, build a project. Just pick something, anything. Find a cool package on PyPI that looks helpful, use pip to install it, and just start creating. So there you have it. We've given you the map. We've pointed out the major landmarks and handed you the compass. The path forward is right there in front of you. So really, there's only one question left to ask yourself. What are you going to build? This is Developer Roadmaps. Map your path, build your career.